Hello, Sarah of SEK Handmade here, and today I'm going to show you 2 ways to work modified chains when working treble crochets in a pattern. I find that when you're working a really tall stitch like a treble crochet, simply working some chains and calling that a treble crochet doesn't give a very uniform look. I used to do it, I was never very satisfied, and when I found these ways of making modified chains, I was so thrilled to have something that matched the rest of my work a little better and gave a much more uniform look. They're super easy to do, so let's go. All right, this type of modified chain I find works really nicely when you're working some open stitch patterns, which happens a lot with treble crochets because they give such nice height that when you work them in an open stitch pattern, it gives a really nice openness and also works up so quick. So what you're going to do when you get to the start of a next row, you're going to start by lifting that chain nice and high. I find that it works best to lift this chain, and I will say this does take a little practice, but if you lift that chain just a little higher than your row of treble crochets that you're going to do, that's about the height you want it. So lift it nice and high, hold on to your loop with your pointer finger, and you're gonna wrap your hook under and around 2 times. If you've done this with a double crochet before, you know that you just loop it once, but for a treble crochet, we need an extra loop on our hook to make it nice and tall. So you're gonna wrap it twice. Then, and this can be a little tricky, if you find it's impossible to get your hook back into this first stitch, you probably didn't lift up high enough, and you'll probably just wanna unwrap and lift a little higher. But a little tightness I find makes this stitch be nice and smooth and not like super bulky and floppy. So if you can, then you're gonna reach your hook back into that first stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. And notice I've kept my finger on that loop the whole time. Now I have enough loops on my hook to make a treble crochet just like normal. So I'm gonna yarn over, pull through 2 loops on my hook, keep that pointer finger in place, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and now is when you can let go finally of that one. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and you've got a nice long stitch that is going to be much more uniform to your other treble crochets. So let's see, if I do a chain one and skip a stitch and then make a treble crochet in the next stitch, you can see just how nicely uniform that modified chain is. It makes it stand up nice and tall, but gives a similar width and shape to that last one. And when you go back and work into the top of that modified chain right there, you're gonna see this side lift up and all of this straighten out even a little more. For this type of modified chain with a treble crochet, you're going to start it out just as normal by chaining 3. So chain 1, chain 2, chain 3. I always chain before I turn my work, but it really doesn't matter. So if you turn and then chain, same difference. So you want to get the same number of loops on your hook as you normally would for a treble crochet. So you're going to work back into these, you're going to skip this first chain, work back into these 2 chains for the 2 loops that you'd normally wrap around your hook. You're going to pull them up through the chains that you worked instead. So pull up 1 loop, go through the last chain, pull up a loop, and then you're going to go ahead and insert into that very first stitch, pull up a loop, and then you complete it just like you do a treble crochet. Pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. And you can see that fills in that whole area really nicely. Let's see if I work another treble crochet next to it. You're gonna see it just really fills it in nicely. And this is a great way to make sure that your fabric is filled nicely and that you get a really nice straight edge when you're working a denser fabric with treble crochets. So that's when I recommend using that. And those are two types of modified chains that you can use when working with treble crochets. It is always my goal to help you grow confidently in your craft, and I hope this tutorial has done that. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, like this video, and share it with a friend who might find this information helpful. Happy crafting!